Hey out there, it's Shane from Makeshift Personalized Fitness. Do you have shoulder pain? If so, then today's video is for you. We're going to talk about some unique ways to help you get rid of your pain. Shoulder pains can be some of the trickiest ones to deal with because our shoulder is a very complex joint and does a lot of different things. Now, I've talked about pain in a number of different videos and blogs. You can find links to all of those below, and some of them are going to pop up above as well. One of the first things you need to do when you're having shoulder pain and you want to start getting it better is you need to have some type of assessment that you can use to figure out which drills are working and which drills aren't. I have done a whole video on that before, but for today we're just going to pretend that you have some range of motion in your shoulder where when you go a little bit further, you begin to have pain in a certain spot. What we're going to do is assess by moving, noticing how far we go before the pain starts, and then after we do some different exercises, seeing if that range of motion gets bigger. This gradual increase in range of motion is how you'll eventually start to get rid of the pain that you're experiencing. Now that we have our assessment, let's start with our first neuro trick of opposite joint, opposite movement. For the shoulder, say it's a left shoulder issue, we would go to the right hip joint. That's the opposite joint. As far as the movement goes, if we're having trouble in shoulder flexion, then we might want to work with hip extension. So very simply, to play with this, if I'm going to my opposite hip, I'm going to focus on creating movement in the extension range of the hip joint. Hopefully after doing a few reps of hip extension, I'll come back and check my shoulder flexion and maybe my range of motion gets a little bit bigger before I feel any pain. If that's the case, perfect. That's a drill you're going to want to do before any of the other movements that we get into. Number two, sensation. Sensation always comes before movement, and sensation information is super important for your brain to make good decisions. So I've done videos on this before. We have a number of different types of sensation we might want to check in and around the shoulder. The first one is being light touch. If you're doing light touch, you want to use another object so you're not getting so much sensation from your hands. You might just rub it around the area that hurts or explore the entire shoulder. If you feel anything that feels a little bit off, put some little bit of extra awareness there, or sometimes just bringing the sensation in general will do the trick. Reassess. If you get better range of motion, great. If not, try out some other types. We can use a pinwheel or something sharp to get a sharp pain or a sharp sensation. We can use vibration. We also can use heat and cold. After applying those to the areas, each one separately, reassess after each one individually, and find out what sensations produce the best results for you. Now, once we've done that work, we can start to actually create motion in the shoulder joint and play with that. Now, the shoulder joint is very complicated. In the joint itself, we have the ability to flex, extend, abduct, adduct, rotate, huge ranges of motion. So when you have shoulder pain, take a little bit of time and actually figure out exactly where the pain is caused. What complicates that is you might have, in addition to the movement of the shoulder, we also have rotation of the arm bones. So sometimes the pain doesn't show up when the hand's facing one way, but it shows up when it's facing another way. So explore those and start to figure out which ones are okay, which ones aren't. When you find the ranges of motion that are causing you a little bit of problem, slowly start to work into them, and using some of the other things we've done, see if you can slowly begin to increase that range of motion through good, clean movement. Once you've gotten your range of motion increased, the next step is to start to strengthen into that. Now, there's also a ton of muscles that affect the shoulder, so we don't want to get too into detail with that. More simply, what we can do is take some type of strap or even use a wall, hooking yourself up, move toward the range of motion that you can comfortably get, and then with resistance, start to create an isometric squeeze. So right now I'm trying to pull forward against the band. It doesn't let me move, but I can feel the muscles engage. Then if I turn this way, I can pull across the body. If I turn this way, I can push my arm away from the body. If I turn this way, I can start to pull back. So by starting to build strength in this area, in each of these different directions, we're beginning to engage all of the different musculature around the shoulder and teaching the shoulder that at this range of motion, it's safe to engage all of these muscles. And in doing that type of work, that's a really powerful way to tell the brain that the range of motion you've achieved is safe and that there's no need for pain there. The last little thing I wanted to mention about range of motion with the shoulder is, in addition to how far you're moving, the shoulder blade plays a role as well. So you're going to want to hold the shoulder blade in one place while you're playing with your movements, realizing that maybe shoulder blade position could be another cause of your shoulder pain. If that's the case, you don't have to worry about moving the shoulder as much. You can actually begin to play with motion at the shoulder blade, making sure that it is clean and natural. If it's not, you might find places where it's hard to control, things accelerate, or it's a little bit choppy as you try to move through them. You'll want to smooth those areas out. And then once you have your shoulder blade under control, you might find that the pain in the shoulder goes away. So there are a number of other things that we can do neurologically that get way too complicated to go into in this video. But in recap for what we've done, the first thing, opposite joint, opposite movement. From one shoulder, go to opposite hip and take the opposite direction of movement to see if creating some movement at that opposite joint in the opposite direction reduces some of the pain that you're experiencing in the shoulder. From there, play with sensation, all different types. You never know, maybe it's just vibration that's the issue. When you give it that sensation, the pain might go away. From there, begin to create clean motion at the shoulder, really exploring what areas actually have pain, and don't forget to figure out if the shoulder blade is involved or if the positioning of the arm bone matters as well. Once you start to create some new range of motion by assessing and reassessing all of this, then you can start to bring in a little bit of strength training isometrically in the position that you finally gained so that it sticks. Give this all a shot, and if you're still having some issues, recognize that here at Matrix, we have our free tune-ups program. You can sign up for a 15-minute session, come in to work on specific issues like this, and that's where we might get into some of the higher order brain stuff to really help you solve problems that aren't going away just based on this video. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out, call, email, message. We'd love to hear from you.